It was a honeymoon where the two of us could have died.
You brought some items that are interesting and unusual to features of your life. So do you mind just showing it to us?
Absolutely. As you all know, I was obsessed with sports when I was young. This hockey stick would be with me in every examination I took. This hockey stick would be right in the front of the hall, beside the stage, placed there, because all I was thinking about was about the practice of the game I was going to play after the exam. Even if the next morning I had another exam, my mind was on the game because I didn't want to miss a single day of playing sports. It mattered more to me than the exams.
Do you think it's your good luck charm?
Whether it did good for me or not, I don't know, but sports did make me for life.
Prioritized it over your studies?
Oh, I did it all along. All along.
And do you mind showing us your next item?
So my next item looks very boring, but it's very interesting. Now this bag is the bag I've been using every day to work, and when I travel, when I go for conferences for about 27 years, something like that, maybe 28 years. If your cameras are good enough, you can see it's quite faded, okay? Now the reason is very simple. Every so often, 2 of our 3 cats take a liking for my bag as a place to urinate in. And unfortunately, sometimes it drenches my documents and we have to take everything out. It's stinking. We have to give it a thorough wash and we have to leave it in the sun the whole day or sometimes for 2 days. So the bag gets more and more faded over time because my cats regularly do it and I don't know how to stop it. I was always careful that when I walked into Parliament, it was not stinking of cat urine.
What about your third item?
So the third item is interesting, which has to do with, can I get my wife to join me for this third item? Because it's a very interesting thing about us. We had a honeymoon. She didn't know where we were going until she boarded the plane. And then I told her, look, don't worry, we are going to Sulawesi. But it was a honeymoon where the two of us could have died and the two of us could, in a separate instant, have been very badly injured. We were in a small town called Batu Tomonga. The 2 photographs of the two of us there in the town itself before this rather eventful expedition that we were about to embark on. We met someone who sort of was hanging around the guest house we were staying in, a very simple guest house, and he introduced himself as a guide and he said, look, he'll take us around. So he said that today there's a cockfight that's taking place in another village, but it required us crossing over several rice fields. And Sulawesi is a beautiful place. It's got cascading terraces. From one level to the next is about 15 to 20 feet. Sometimes bigger. It's a steep slope down and you have to walk on a very thin bund at the edge of that paddy field. So far so good. Young guide leading us to this cockfight and then a tropical rainstorm started. All dark, lightning, thunder, incredible rain. We had not been prepared to walk on the paddy fields, so I was wearing boat shoes which have 0 friction underneath and she was wearing some simple sandals and it was completely muddy and her foot kept going into the mud. I had the great confidence of thinking that because I was a sportsman, I will stay steady.
Can I just add something?
Please.
The drop in the paddy field actually was bounded by giant boulders. So if you fell, it wouldn't be lovely, soft sawa. It would be hard rock.
And then the guide realized that we were lost and he crouched down for a while and then he disappeared. So we were then left there on our own. We didn't know what to do. We said, okay, let's just keep walking in the same direction. But you don't even know if you're walking in the same direction because it looks all the same. We started early morning and by late afternoon, of course, totally hungry and wet and drenched. And then finally, 2 Indonesian women came walking past. So we explained to them our problem. They said, okay, follow us. Crossed the river, finally made our way to a small kampong with about 4 houses. There's a family there sitting on the sort of a ladder leading up to their atap house. And I approached them and spoke to them in Malay and said, can we have some food? Because we hadn't eaten at all. And they welcomed us immediately. They were just so happy to have us, right? Just an ordinary family. And the dinner, some green papaya boiled in water with a bit of salt and a small amount of rice. So we just took a little bit each, but it was so touching. They had so little and they were so warm in wanting to just make us feel at home. Not the end of the story, because we almost lost our lives after that. From that small town, we had to make our way down by, again, one of these small buses to another town. Interestingly, we were making our way to a town called Sengkang. Started at about 7 in the evening and it was going to take the whole night to come down. Fortunately, the driver decided to make a detour to his uncle's house to collect some chickens. It turned out to be a lifesaver. After collecting the chickens, the axle of the bus broke and the bus swerved off the road completely. If he hadn't made the detour to collect chickens from his uncle, we would have been coming down this mountain path, narrow mountain path, and we would have swerved off and plunged all the way down, and we would all have not made it. And we decided, well, look, if we could make it through those rice fields without getting maimed, and if we could make it through that journey without getting killed, we can take anything in life together.